Every dominant team in Formula One history has lost its edge immediately after a major regulation change. Ferrari in 2005, Red Bull in 2014, and Mercedes in 2022. Without exception, the kings always fall when the rules get rewritten, and yet Max Verstappen just might be the exception that breaks the pattern. The biggest technical overhaul in 60 years is coming, and Verstappen's team is building their first engine ever, which sounds like a recipe for disaster until you look at what he knows that nobody else seems to understand. Stick around to the end, because what we reveal might surprise you. What is coming is not a rule tweak. This is a complete transformation of what a Formula One car actually is. The power unit balance flips dramatically. Right now, internal combustion engines produce around 750 horsepower, while electric motors add about 160. That equation reverses next year, with engine output dropping to 540 horsepower and electric motor output jumping to 470. A 50-50 split produces roughly 1,000 horsepower combined, changing everything about how these cars behave. Gone entirely is the MGU-H, the complex heat recovery system that caused Honda and Renault so many headaches when the hybrid era began. A new overtake mode grants drivers extra energy when they are within 1 second of the car ahead, and that should create better racing. 30 kilograms come off the minimum weight, dropping to 768 kilograms. The wheelbase shrinks by 200 millimeters, while overall width drops by 100 millimeters, creating more agile machines than anything in the modern era. Active aerodynamic systems replace DRS completely. Movable flaps switch between high downforce corner mode and low drag straight mode automatically. The original proposal called for 40% less downforce, but simulations showed cars would be 4 seconds slower, so final targets settled between 15 and 30% reduction. 60 years have passed since Formula One saw a technical reset this dramatic, and history tells us exactly what happens to dominant teams when the rules change this much. 13 race wins belonged to Michael Schumacher in 2004 with Ferrari. Then the regulations changed and his wins dropped to just 1. That sole victory came at the controversial United States Grand Prix when Michelin teams withdrew. 86 points vanished as he fell from 1st to 3rd in the championship. Sebastian Vettel experienced an even steeper collapse. 397 points and 13 wins defined his 2013 season, but then the turbo hybrid era arrived. 0 wins came in 2014, alongside just 167 points, leaving him 5th. His teammate Daniel Ricciardo outscored him by 71 points. Adrian Newey himself admitted the situation felt pretty depressing, because even a spectacular job might only snatch the odd win and never a championship. Lewis Hamilton won 8 races in 2021, then ground effect regulations arrived and Mercedes completely missed the concept. Severe porpoising left Hamilton reporting back pain after Azerbaijan. His entire season passed without a single win or pole position. It was his first winless campaign in 16 years of Formula One. 945 days would pass before he won again. The pattern holds every single time. Every dominant team loses its position immediately after major regulation changes, with recovery taking anywhere from 1 season to nearly a decade. And that's where Verstappen's story takes an unexpected turn. We've already watched him do it once. Ground effect regulations arrived in 2022, and while Mercedes and Ferrari struggled with severe porpoising, Verstappen dominated from the start. 15 wins came alongside a 22-2 qualifying advantage over teammate Sergio Perez. Both Red Bull drivers retired from the season opener, leaving Verstappen with the largest points deficit to overcome in Formula One history, and he overcame it. His driving style explains this adaptability. Technical analysts describe him as a smooth oversteer driver who brakes early in 2 phases, creating rotation that points the car more directly earlier on exit. Former teammate Alex Albon put it simply, saying Verstappen's level of pointy handling sits off the scale because he likes a car that darts into corners. The 2025 season proved something even more remarkable. 2 points separated Verstappen from champion Lando Norris, despite what he described as the best driving of his career. 104 points behind Oscar Piastri after the Dutch Grand Prix, Verstappen won 6 of the final 10 races in a comeback that defied the performance gap. His assessment cuts straight to the point, saying they didn't really lose it because they were never really in it. Nearly winning a championship in an inferior car through sheer talent matters enormously for what comes next. Here is where the risk enters. Red Bull is building their first Formula One engine ever. In February 2023, Red Bull announced an 8-year partnership with Ford Motor Company. Christian Horner described it as Red Bull's biggest investment since acquiring Jaguar in 2004, with hundreds of millions of pounds committed and approximately 300 employees working on the power unit. Their Milton Keynes facility now runs at full capacity, with an engine firing on the dynamometer regularly. Technical director Ben Hodgkinson reported that Verstappen toured the facility, heard the 2026 power unit running, and came away impressed. Personnel raids on Mercedes built this engine program. Ben Hodgkinson spent 20 years at Mercedes as head of mechanical engineering before Red Bull recruited him, along with several other key Mercedes high-performance powertrain staff. Then complications arrived. Adrian Newey announced his departure on May 1, 2024, leaving fully in early 2025 to join Aston Martin. The legendary aerodynamicist who designed every championship-winning Red Bull would not touch the 2026 car. Christian Horner departed in July 2025, and Helmut Marko left in December after more than 20 years. Marko stayed realistic about expectations before leaving, admitting it is unlikely they will show up and be fastest right away. His target was winning races in the second half of the year. Mercedes approaches 2026 with what they describe as a complete tear-up, an entirely new architecture. They supply McLaren, Williams and newly acquired Alpine, and Toto Wolff has claimed Mercedes stands as the power unit favourite. Ferrari brings Lewis Hamilton into their operation, adding Mercedes experience along with Loic Serra as chassis technical director. Aston Martin now employs Adrian Newey, with Honda as their exclusive works engine supplier. €600 million changed hands when Audi completed their Sauber acquisition in January 2025, creating a manufacturer entry with around 750 staff. Mattia Binotto joined as Chief Operating Officer and Chief Technical Officer, while Jonathan Wheatley came from Red Bull as Team Principal. This manufacturer landscape carries more competition than Formula One has seen in decades. Here's where the argument flips unexpectedly. Toto Wolff identified a specific advantage Verstappen holds, explaining that the simulator generation will thrive in 2026. Looking at Max's generation, Wolff noted they work on simulators constantly, and they enjoy it. Whoever loves the virtual world will have an advantage when these new cars arrive. Complex energy management decisions happen in real time with the 2026 power units, and Marko pointed to Verstappen's ability to drive fast and think at the same time as perfect for managing these systems under pressure. 30 kilograms of weight reduction creates more agile cars, exactly what Verstappen's oversteer-loving style prefers. Ben Hodgkinson offered cautious optimism, acknowledging Mercedes will likely do well while expressing confidence that Red Bull is developing faster now that they have caught up from starting behind. Verstappen's own views have shifted. In 2023, he called the regulations terrible. By July 2025, his tone softened as he admitted they might actually be fun once they start driving. Former champion Jacques Villeneuve captured the uncertainty perfectly, noting that many of Verstappen's cars have been influenced by Adrian Newey. A big question mark hangs over the next year, and that is exactly what makes it exciting. Nobody knows what to expect. 60 years of Formula One history have not produced a technical reset this dramatic, and every pattern says the dominant team should fall. Max Verstappen should struggle with an unproven engine and without Adrian Newey, but Verstappen has already defied this pattern once. Ground effect cars arrived in 2022 and he adapted immediately while rivals floundered. 2 points separated him from the championship in 2025 despite driving an inferior machine. Red Bull enters 2026 carrying real vulnerabilities. An untested power unit faces manufacturers with 90 years of experience. Their greatest technical asset now works for a competitor. Leadership changes arrived at the worst possible time. What they still possess is the sport's most adaptable driver, substantial Ford investment, and key Mercedes personnel running the engine program. Melbourne hosts the first race on March 6, 2026. Real answers arrive then. History says the kings always fall when the rules change. Max Verstappen has made a career of proving history wrong.